Welcome to Waiting on the Trade, a comics book club for people who can't keep up with monthly comics. I'm Matt Ledger.
I'm Patrick Fitzgerald Fleck.
I'm Mike Drew.
I am Ryan Drew.
This month, we're talking about Dogman, For Whom the Ball Rolls, the 7th entry in Dave Pilkey's popular Dogman series. Now, in case you need a refresher, For Whom the Ball Rolls is a fun-filled yet heartfelt tale full of fisticuffs, family matters, and philosophy. For Whom the Ball Rolls features former Dogman nemesis Petey the Cat being pardoned and released from jail, Little Petey leaving Dogman's house to live with his father, and Dogman battling his bad habits and fears. But honestly, there's a lot more going on in this book. This book is jam-packed with stuff that I'm sure we will talk about.
It's a lot of information.
There literally is a chapter titled, and then things kept happening, right? That's the title of that chapter.
I thought it was a bunch of stuff happened next.
That is the correct title. Ryan's on his game. He's bringing it to his first appearance on the podcast. He is here to correct adults, and he will not be stopped.
Trust me, we've tried.
Ryan, welcome to the podcast for the first time. We're really glad to have you. We've been trying to get this Dogman recording together for a while, and I'm super excited about it.
Thank you for having me. Ever since I found out that Mike was doing a podcast, I wanted to do one too, and ever since he said no, I've been...
Light him up.
Did I say no?
So
I don't know if I said no, but apparently I did.
Wow.
Yeah, well, look at me now, father!
Now he is
Oh,
the
boy.
master, and you are the apprentice. I don't know how that works.
I guess I should leave my robe in the middle of the floor and just disappear then.
Don't you do that someday? Anyways, enough about Mike's
Anyways,
work
moving
life.
on.
We're
Moving
getting
on.
off topic here.
So Ryan, we discussed doing a Dogman book for the podcast. Gosh, probably a couple of years ago at this point or something. A while ago. What made you want to pick this one? This is the 7th book, and there's currently like 11 of them, right? I bet you know better than I do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like 10 or 11. But
Okay.
I wanted to pick this one because this one's my favorite because they're bringing back Dogman's nemesis, his Petey's dad, which is pretty crazy, and he's like the big baddie of the entire book.
But he's not a baddie in this. He's a goodie.
Petey's dad?
Oh no, Petey's dad. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Little Petey's dad. The names are confusing for us old people. So are you telling me that Petey's dad is the big bad of the entire series, or just the big bad of this book?
The big bad of this book and
This book,
some
okay.
other books, but he was put in jail.
Okay, gotcha.
But then
Okay.
he got pardoned, so I don't know.
Wait,
Seems
now
to happen a lot.
now I am confused. Who got?
Wait, no.
Are you talking
Wait,
about
wait,
the old man
no.
cat, like the grandpa cat?
No, both of them got pardoned. 'Cause I'm
Ah.
pretty... Yeah, Petey's dad served his sentence.
Okay, I gotcha. So didn't get pardoned, did serve his time.
There you go.
I was gonna say, doesn't matter whether we're correct or not. I can put
Nope.
all this in the show notes. I was, as a person who's read one of these books before, I think it was, I'm trying to remember which one it would have been. Hang on, I'll go to the back, because I know that they're all pictured in the back. It would have been number 5. I've read Dogman Lord of the Fleas, I believe, because
That's the
I
one
found...
before this one.
I think Brawl of the Wild is in between them, looking at this graphic I'm looking at.
I'm looking at my shelf right now. Yeah, my shelf's like right next to me.
Mike, can I tell you that I love that your kid can just look at his comic shelf as he's recording a podcast, because that's what I do.
Yeah, he has a comic shelf in his room.
When'd you start getting into Dogman, Ryan? When'd you start collecting?
About 2nd grade when people said that it was a good series and I should read it.
There you
That's high praise.
go.
Are you caught up? Are you current? Do you have all 10 or 11?
No, there's a new one, but I haven't gotten it.
Get on that, Mike. Come on.
Ah,
I mean, I
Get
saw it at the bookstore the other day, but I didn't want to get it because I was already getting a game. I know, games at a bookstore are crazy.
What is Barnes & Noble doing? No one knows.
No, it's half-price books.
Oh, it's half
Worse than
price?
that, Matthew.
Nice.
The best. Nice.
Discounted games, baby.
So, what is our non-child experience with Dogman up to this point? Like I said, I've read one of them before. I have a lot of experience with people writing articles about how much of a sales success it is, but like that's most of my experience with it is having read the one book and I guess having read people writing about it. So, Pat, Mike, did you have any prior experience with the Dogman?
Most of my prior experience is buying it. So as a consumer, I can tell you it is getting a lot of my money.
It's getting a
And-
lot of people's money, man.
It is. It is getting a lot of money.
Dave Pilkey's racking in some big bucks.
So I had posted a few links in the recording channel chat, and one of them was the BookScan sales numbers from 2022, and that tracks like graphic novel sales in bookstores. If you look at those numbers, Dogman related books are 5 of the top 10 books. They're the first 3, I believe, are either Catman Comic Club or Cat Kid Comic Club or Dogman. First 4, sorry. So the top 4 books, 5 out of 10 and 9 out of 20 are Dogman related. And the sales numbers are in the like hundreds of thousands of copies. The number 1 book is Cat Kid Comic Club Volume 3, and the sales numbers are 623,000 books, which is wild. Because a good month. Let me flip it over.
$20? I think it's $20. I can't remember.
It's
I should
13
remember.
bucks. I was gonna say $20 would be really expensive for a kid book, but yeah, the hardcover volume I've got from the library is $13 here.
Yeah, but especially, I don't think they'd be making. Wait, let me take that back. They make a lot of money because it's just short comic books that you can read in 30 minutes, and it's based towards children. So we want the child's money.
We want the parents' money.
No, we don't want the child's money. We want the parents' money.
I mean, it all spends the same, Ryan.
Take candy from a child's parents.
Pat, what's your Dogman experience up to this point?
0. I have not read or heard anything. I mean, other than through you, Matt, saying that it was super popular. Like that interview you did back in Fresno, right? With the local library.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, we can't keep these books on the shelves. It's like, oh,
yeah,
wow.
I meant to look at that today, too. I think it was like 5 of the top 10 most checked out books on that also were Dogman related.
Yeah, so I know it was super popular. I didn't realize this was Captain Underpants, which as a child I had read. So
Same.
good for him for keeping it. I think it's the same illustrator. At least the style is very similar.
Yeah, it's definitely the same. And I was reminded also that Dave Pilkey did Catzilla, which was a favorite of mine when I was a kid too. Or no, Dogzilla and Cat. Oh, there's 2 of them. I'll find them for the show notes. But they're basically just like early Photoshop books where like a cat or a dog is photoshopped in as a kaiju. And like all the children's book pages.
Very nice.
It's very funny. It's very cool.
Adult nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
I think they've definitely found something that works and have really improved upon it, and it's obviously doing numbers.
Yeah.
By the way,
my nephews have all these books, which is how I read the first one that I had read. Is I just popped one open while I was there, and I've really enjoyed both of the 2 Dogman books I've read, which is not something that I entirely thought I would say as a 33-year-old adult, but like they're a riot, man. I love them.
Mike, you can't say that you didn't enjoy it at least a little bit. Like
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a good bit. It was
good bit.
It was
an
hilarious and heartwarming.
appropriate bit.
Exactly.
Hey, it's appropriate. Right up your alley, Mike.
So I have 2 avenues we can take from this point, I feel like. I think we can either start with Pat's question, which I think is the best first question, or because Ryan is our special guest of honor, we can start with his question. Which one do you guys want to do?
I'm kidding.
I want either of them while I search up locations of burn centers. I have a feeling I'll need one after
Pat,
this.
you can go.
Apply to
you want me to go
area.
first? All right. I can go first. My question, which has already been deemed the best question, which I can't argue with, It is
Okay,
a pretty
buddy.
good
That's whoa,
question.
whoa, back it up.
No,
there.
no, no. We all heard it. We,
Said
no
best-
take backs.
best First question.
Yeah, the
Being
best
recorded,
question.
by the way, so
Yeah, it's there for the
That's
record.
the problem with the electorate. Everyone thinks the first question's the best.
you turned it.
So,
The
my
best question
question,
is-
the best question, is what surprised you the most about this comic?
All right, Pat, you go first because your question.
And it is the best question. So
it is the best question, so you hopefully have the best answer for
You
it.
answered the question.
So I really enjoyed all of the references made throughout this book, and I wasn't sure while reading it if Dave Pilkey meant for it just to be like, oh, this must be for the adults. We're reading this to their kids to get all like the book titles in the chapter titles, the Farewell to Arms, and I mean the title of the book itself being For Whom the Ball Rolls.
The title drop on that in the book is also hilarious. Also,
I think the cover was mainly an Indiana Jones reference with the
yeah.
ball.
Sure, for sure.
Let me take that back. The big very light blue sphere.
Yep. Agreed. But the fact, like, Ryan, do you know who Ernest Hemingway is?
No.
Yeah, see? Which I wouldn't
I
expect you to, so don't worry.
He didn't read the notes on page 226 then, because it says it right here.
I'm a big fan of notes, so I understand.
I wasn't
Some
given a
people don't like
document.
reading.
There is an Ernest Hemingway lookalike club in the city of Madison. I feel like we're going to need to partake, so he learns.
Well, there you go. But yeah, so I enjoyed all those little like wink and nudges throughout the book. And I thought maybe it was something like they do for like cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons, throw in some like thinly veiled adult humor once in a while just to keep the adults entertained while the kids are laughing at the stuff. So I thought that's what it was. But no, they explain it on page 224, which is like, oh, that's great. You get the very hungry caterpillar reference for the Ratterpillar and all that jazz. So I appreciated that. So that was surprising. They explained everything. But I think my biggest surprise, I may have taken other people's answers. I'm sorry. I'm
That's okay. It's your
being
question.
greedy. I'm
You
being
get to
greedy.
do it.
Mr.
But here, no, my biggest surprise, and one that wasn't actually explained in the back of the book because I was wondering, because it's a pretty big word that I don't even think many adults would be able to tell you what it is. Let's test that. Mike, do you mind turning to page 184? Can you read the first panel on page 184?
It might be so. My your 224 was my 226, Pat. Also, so
Okay, it's when the Ratterpillar breaks out of the cocoon.
I see the word you're looking for, and it's on 186 in mine.
That should have been my question. Like, how did the robot Ratterpillar, which is a robot, evolve?
That's a good question.
Because the book is a wild state of dream logic throughout, essentially.
Guess you have a point there.
I
I
did
don't know,
actually.
I'm going to assume I can't pronounce it, given that I do not have the book. But if
You
I
don't
did have
the book at
I
all?
thought- I mean, it's somewhere. Yeah. What? You expect me to have a book in front of me while I'm recording a
Anyways.
podcast about the book? Unreasonable, sir.
Anyways, the word is sepulcher, and I don't imagine many adults reading this would.
Wait, can you repeat that, please?
Sepulcher. Meanwhile, off in the distance, encased in a silent sepulcher of cinders, is the panel.
What?
You know, Pat, I read that twice, and I just went right through it. And I don't know if I could have told you the exact definition of sepulcher before just typing it into Google. So you
Right?
got me
I'm,
wrong.
okay, I haven't looked up the definition yet, but I'm pretty sure it's like a dungeon. I'm pretty sure it's like a messed up dungeon. Is what I know what a sepulcher to be. It's like a place where you just
Small
drop
room or
people.
monument in which a dead person is later buried.
Yeah. Okay.
Followed by
How do you-
I
transmogrification.
use that on a daily basis. I don't know about you guys, but you should just get better at English.
How do you spell it?
SEPULCHER.
Also,
RE.
like, share.
Or RE if you're going to be fancy, I
A
suppose.
small room or monument cut in rock or built of stone in which a dead person is laid or buried.
There you go.
Or a dormant Ratterpillar. We're adding to the definition.
That's a
So it's
pretty
a tomb.
That's a pretty morbid definition.
Well, it's a pretty interesting word to throw into a kid's comic book, and therefore I was surprised.
There you go.
We got there.
Now I think I want the person who is the dad of the person who picked the book to answer the question. Like,
Most
what surprised
surprising
you the
thing.
most about this book that your child has been reading and you know nothing about until this moment?
I don't remember reading comics that were as well put. Like, the comic books I read growing up. Okay, Matt,
Animorphs.
you read comic books growing up. I read books of like Garfield comics and like Calvin and Hobbes growing up because
Okay, those are two very just different tiers of comic. I was like, okay, Garfield, this makes sense. He's saying that he read trash comics. And then you said Calvin and Hobbes. I was like,
Calvin
no,
and Hobbes
no,
was good.
sir.
Okay.
Calvin and Hobbes is on the level with this.
Yes,
Also, we're
but
not talking about that.
it's
He's building up his question. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's got a point in there somewhere, Ryan. We'll find
I
it.
know.
Dramatic effect.
We'll find it after we edit everything.
Right. Post.
But it seems like he did actually go in and like the story it's good. Like I guess I shouldn't say I'm shocked by the story being good. It's a
No.
million-
I got the headline.
No.
Mike Drew's answer. This story was good. Shocking.
shocking, I know. But I'm used to in a Garfield comic book, you got 7 or 8 comics in a row that are all just trash, and then you get one that one got a laugh. That one's good. I giggled several times, multiple times a page. It was the humor was appreciated, and it was. I know it's probably too young for me, but I enjoyed it.
It's very
As,
child.
An immature,
It was,
almost 40-year-old.
Immature. Yeah, like first grader directed jokes. Like they talk about diarrhea every single book.
It's an important subject.
That was a pretty good one in the intro to the book. It was what I swim in diarrhea. It's so stinky or
stinky.
something.
Oh, the background.
Well, which is
I
stinky.
Yeah.
No, I was reading this book at a coffee shop. Kat and I had gone out to do some work at a coffee shop, and I wrapped up a blog post, and I had brought this with. And I was just chuckling the whole time to the point where Kat was kind of looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I had a ton of fun reading this book, so I'm glad you did too, Mike.
I'm reading a children's comic book. Leave me alone.
I'm glad my wife wasn't the only one that looked at me strange while I was reading it.
All right. No, we still gotta say what
We got
surprised
half
us,
the
Ryan.
answers to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ryan, what surprised you about reading this book?
The fact that Petey was actually a good guy instead of the stereotypical villain,
Yeah. The redemption arc of Petey was pretty good.
even though he has committed war crimes.
I appreciate that this book is willing to give people a second chance. It also was interesting because it's willing to do that without saying that everyone will will take advantage of that second chance in the same way. Like we see Petey's dad obviously be given a second chance and just squander it in the book.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
also committed crimes.
yeah.
All
also
the stuff
commit
he got
crime.
to sell. So great.
But I guess that's kind of my answer to the question is I expected there to be poop jokes and I expected there to be punching in action, but I had never it always gets me, I guess always. The 2 times I've read the books, it always it has struck me that they are so
Heartfelt.
yeah, and complex too. They're not
Yeah.
simple. They are for kids and they're understandable for kids and they're fun and they've got poop jokes, but they also are complex and I really enjoy that, and I think it makes it so that something that anyone can actually kind of pick up and read it. I think you probably get more out of it if you have kids to enjoy it with, but
Sure.
I think if it was if there was a volume of Dogman laying in front of me at the dentist's office or something, I'd pick that thing up and read it almost to the swear.
Oh,
Hey!
$5 in the swear jar.
$5,
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah,
You must
to me. Yeah, to
be
me.
completely.
Mike
No,
House
this
is
has been
totalitarian. $5 per swear. No one gets a Discord account.
My
Hey, it's
goodness.
nothing like I've heard from this bugalow.
How do you think
here.
we pay our mortgage? Because my swear jar.
No, Mike, you pay off the mortgage by having people yell at you.
Too real.
That is an accurate statement.
Same goes for Mom.
Too real.
he's just
Adulting.
Okay, I'm getting
dropping
off topic.
bombs. Not on my podcast, right? Don't get off topic. Come on. No, I think at this point, let's move on to Ryan's question. Because I think we should take Ryan's question while he's still here, engaged with the podcast, not off doing whatever the youth do.
What?
That's so fire.
That's insulting.
Let's say,
Say,
I would put his attention span equal to Mike's at least.
Possibly above, yeah.
possible.
Hey, I've stuck around this long.
It's true.
It's true.
I'm
So
halfway
Ryan-
gone already, so he's better than I am.
Mike's
We
out
know.
the door.
You know.
So Ryan, what is your discussion question?
Thanks, man.
Alright, so the big fat robot, ADHD, when he swabbed Lil PD's DNA, he found PD's dad, Lil PD's grandpa, and I was wondering, how did he do that? Like, you swab his DNA and what? Did you, like, put it into a hard drive, inject it, and, like, plug it into your computer, search up the guy, and you know where his location is?
Let's see here. And Hobo hero pierces the twilight. He's got little radio waves coming from him there. So I
Yeah,
think
he's like searching for DNA signatures, which is kind of wild. But I think not outside, again, the manic dream logic that is this book. Where things just kind of happen and they mostly make sense within the rules of the fiction, and if you don't squint at them too hard, it's all good.
I do feel like this panel would have been made better if there was like, and this is a reference that Ryan won't get, but that's on me too because he should. From Star Trek Generations, where Data is searching for Picard on the planet's surface, and he starts typing in life forms, and starts scanning for life forms, and he starts singing. There should have been a panel like that where he was singing, but maybe that's just to kowtow to the lowest common denominator that is myself.
Yeah, well, we don't want the writers of Star Trek to... No, Dave Pilkey doesn't want to get sued by the writers of Star Trek for that reference.
That's right.
Because Star Trek is very big.
Yeah, he only makes references to everything else instead.
Very large.
Things with
Literally
Harrison
everything else.
Ford in it, yeah.
Straight up copies the poster for Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but puts cats in it.
Yeah, another thing you didn't explain in the back. I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting.
Mama
One,
Revolution!
the things that he explained and things he just left. But yeah.
There's only so much space on a notes page, Pat, unless you're the monstrous team. Shots fired
I know,
again.
How dare you? Those are important bits.
I guess my answer to that is the only way is just to hand wave it that it's a robot and has magical powers / scientific powers. But is science really any different than magic?
No,
No.
any sufficiently advanced science would be indistinguishable.
Thank you.
Indistinguishable. But no, I think PD looks close enough to his dad that maybe he just showed a picture around. You know?
I mean, so he 23andMe's it, so that part is acceptable to me.
Mhm.
Like that all checks out. Just uploads it to the internet, gets a thing back. It's like, okay, this is your grandpa. The scanning for DNA, it's not the weirdest thing I've seen in a comic book. Let's be real. So I'm willing to just accept it.
I don't read as much comic books as you guys do, so...
No, this is true. I was curious actually, like given all the wild stuff that happens in this comic, why this is the bit that like you had a question about, or like why this is the bit that like didn't quite make sense or like
Yeah, well,
track correctly for you.
we dive too deep. We think about it too much.
No, but what I'm saying is like there's so much wilder stuff in this book. Why is this the bit that tripped you up?
Because I'm a kid and I don't know what DNA things are. I don't even know what DNA stands for.
It's like teaching in schools these
I gotta
days.
remember. Dioxyribonucleic acid. I did it.
You did it, Mike.
Give me a medal. I want a medal.
Oh.
Oh my god, he did do it. I was just double
You
checking.
had to look it up. No, you did it.
I did it.
No, I didn't have to look it up. I
How
just
I
wanted to confirm that Mike was right.
Seriously.
I see how it is.
Mike, I think you're smarter than I gave you credit for.
He surprises you every once in a while.
Oh my god, the podcast was worth it. We got Ryan to compliment Mike.
Joseph Burns.
Bringing families together, one podcast at a time.
Nice.
So
All
who's
right.
question next? Mine or yours, Matthew?
I was gonna say, should
think
we
mine is better.
move from son to father? I agree. Yours is better. Yes, and
Mine is
yes,
far
and
better.
let's do your question.
Excellent. Yes, and what is the most dastardly villainous act in this book?
I mean, we're all agreed on this, right? This one's pretty
Well, let's start with
open
Ryan.
and close.
I
So
don't know
do
if we
I.
are.
Ryan, what do you think the most dastardly villainous act
You know
is?
that crazy scientist with all the robots?
Yeah,
Yeah, Dr. Scum, Mr. Scum.
Dr. Scum, yeah.
Whatever.
He was
Dr.
from the first
Scum.
book.
Yeah,
He's
from
not new.
I'm
Not
not new. Yeah, when he made the giant warbot and an army of other robots,
Uh-huh.
terrorizing an entire city. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty dastard thing, considering it is a actual war crime.
Is it a war crime?
To
He's just trying
to make
I
a
mean, there's
city go up in flames, I think.
I mean, it is a crime. I don't know if it's a war crime. There's
He's
not
just
really
trying
a
to-
war happening.
attempting some conquest. There's nothing wrong with conquest. I mean, look at him. Oh,
He's,
well.
he's just stealing stuff, right? Is he even taking over the city?
dramatic effect.
Yeah, I think technically to be a war crime, war needs to be
War needs to be
happening.
In Ryan's defense, no one has ever over exaggerated on a podcast before. He's the first one.
We've all we kept it level.
Those
All right.
Battlestar Galactica episodes all were 10 out of
Yeah, true. Yeah,
All right.
that was pretty dastardly for sure.
So adults in the room, what's the real most dastardly villainous act?
10. Oh, Petey's grandfather.
Petey's
By
grandfather
far.
selling
Yeah.
all of his stuff up
Yeah.
yeah. to the son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
Far and away.
Not even his
I'd rather have
son.
my city
It's his
invaded 4
son
times.
and his cloned son, his cloned grandson.
And he just leaves his drawing. He's like, you can keep these.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
insults the grandson by leaving the drawing.
It's rough, man.
That's pretty.
It's rough.
So a couple
dastardly.
related questions wrapped up in this whole thing where Little P's grandpa is the true villain of the book, like by far. Dr. Scum's just there for so they have someone to punch in the big action scene.
Cameo. He's not new.
He's not new.
I was in the
So-
first book.
2 questions. First
Uh-huh.
one being, do you think Petey's lab actually has any secret rooms, or is he just lying to make little Petey feel better?
He's absolutely lying, so his son
He's making-
doesn't worry about him.
Absolutely lying.
Okay, perfect. That's what I thought too. Awesome. Agreed. Second question. Ryan might know the answer to this. I don't know. And maybe it's more of a statement than a question. We didn't actually get told what's up with the difference between their tails in this book.
I know.
Ryan
You?
knows. All right, tell me, Ryan.
Reason why Petey's tail is like paper thin is because it got stomped on a bunch in his youth.
Oh, that's
It's
sad.
pretty rough. Same thing happened to my tail.
Yeah, I was rereading it today, and I noticed that we didn't actually get an answer to that question in this book. And I was like, I'm going to end up reading more Dogman books because I want to know what's going on.
Lore.
Backstory.
Oh, we never got a Petey backstory. He just explains it in the book.
Gotcha. I figured it had something to do with that. Like it happened to him when he was a kid, and potentially his dad even did it to him, which
His
would be
boy
awful. But
is
is
PTSD.
that what his name is short for?
Oh, PT. Oh, no.
PT.
Traumatic stress
PT.
disorder.
That's why he's so morally conflicted.
Morals. Getting away
Yeah.
with everything.
The book is super complex, man. When the real villain
that
is
character, it got me. I was like, this character is actually like I feel kind of feelings, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's a children's book. Why do I feel feelings?
I know what the truest atrocious thing is in the entire book. Sorry, going back to the
Yeah.
lay it on me.
when Petey's dad smashed his dishes.
It's pretty messed up.
The panel where he spits out the seafood crackers, yells, and then as Petey is walking away is just smiling, like knowing exactly what he's done. That's true villainy right there. Like we might
Yep.
just get a close up of that one for the, the show notes. Because that's villain face. That's worse than anything Dr. Scum did in the entire book, I think, honestly.
Oh yes. That's Joker towing with Todd. Wait, no, not Todd. I can't even remember his name. That's
That's a way different universe, buddy. I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, where are you, Mike? Stay on topic.
Yeah, Mike. Like what the heck?
Come on,
I'm
Mike. We're trying to
sorry.
have a good podcast here. You're just
I'm sorry.
enjoying this. All right. Having answered Mike's question, I believe we will move on to my question, the last and least good question.
Yes.
Correct.
So my question was a pretty straightforward, but hopefully a nice upper after talking about all these dastardly villainous acts.
Child
Who is your
abandonment. Yes.
Right? Tearing your son down piece by piece. Who is your favorite character in the book and why?
Commander Cupcake.
Is it
Yeah.
Commander Cupcake?
Yeah, he was, and it's not even him. It was Bub and what's his name, Cranky.
Something like that? Hang on, I'll flip to the front of the book. Can I tell you how much I actually really appreciated the beginning of the book and our story thus far section? A, because it did a really good job, I feel like, of summing up 6 books worth of stuff and picking out the most important stuff. B, because it's absolutely hilarious. I'd sent Mike and Pat a picture of the page where they decide to sew Dogman's head onto the dying policeman's body.
Oh yeah.
That is
I was
fantastic.
just
Fantastic.
laughing out loud walking back from the library after I checked this out. Because it's just it's such a great example of this book's wonderful fantasy logic where it's let's sew the dog's head onto the cop's body. And it just works. There's just a Dogman now. But I think it's really smart to put a previously on at the front of all these books and do it in such a way that it itself is very entertaining to read. Bub and Crunky are the names of the flunkies.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, the fact that Commander Cupcake is so oblivious that it wasn't even his own idea to be driven to Cupcake so much. It was Crunky and Bub. Just so they wouldn't starve.
Well, does that negate the heroic actions made by Commander Cupcake?
Oh,
Because the original idea wasn't his. That just.
Oh yeah. He is the real superhero. He is the one who stopped Dr. Skim.
It's true.
but Pat, it's not enough to be good. You have to do good. And even if Commander Cupcake is not good, he did good. So doesn't that mean he is good?
Who would ever claim that Commander Cupcake wasn't good?
Well,
All
you just
shades of
did.
gray,
You
man.
just did. You said
I
does
did
not
not.
cancel out
He's
his
the
the
pinnacle
motivations of
of
his
good.
actions.
It was a hypothetical
Oh, look.
question.
And I'm saying that in the text, we aren't concerned about motivations. We're concerned only about outcomes. There's a name for that in psychology, which I'll look up. It was in a Batman comic once, so I'll be able to pull it off the shelf here. and look it
There
up.
you go.
I'm here to talk about
No,
a
you
comic.
won't. I probably have that Batman comic.
No, I've got that one. I can see it.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Commander Cupcake.
Oh, no, the real answer was Bub and Crunky, correct?
No, Commander Cupcake.
Oh, it is
If
Commander
someone
Cupcake.
wasn't
I was
listening.
wrong. Pat, you're
Okay.
so much more in touch with the youth than I am.
I just listen.
That's fire,
I just
Pat.
listen.
Did you guys know that every prison has a textiles room and there's a sign pointing to where the textiles room is, so you can go make your superhero costume when you get hypnotized into being a cupcake themed
Oh.
superhero?
I don't know about every prison, but I mean at least that one.
At least in
I'm
this
sure so.
town. That makes sense, yeah.
Cat jail.
Yes, the cat jail specifically for
What did,
cats.
Wait, what's his name? It started with a J. Big Jim.
Big Jim.
What did he do wrong? Like, he seems.
Why is he in
far-
cat jail?
Yeah, he seems far too good to even hurt a soul.
You probably ate
I mean-
everything at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
I think he was probably just led astray because we're just seeing evidence of him being very easily manipulated by
Sometimes people just end up making the wrong choice.
easy suggestions led him astray when he was younger, and that's how he ended up in jail.
I appreciate the wordplay, Patrick. Good job.
He's probably going to get a pardon now. They all get pardons when they do good deeds, so.
Yeah.
There you go. Mike, what is
Do
your
I have to
answer?
answer? Of course I
You
have
do.
to answer.
Yeah,
Contractually obligated.
Do it.
when
It's
you
Petey.
signed up for the.
Petey's the best.
PD is pretty good.
Petey. He's the
You're
greatest.
just saying that
He's
because
like,
you're a dad.
Okay.
Ooh, truth comes out.
yes. And
I know this.
It-
I know the ins and outs of this man's thoughts.
he's He's a villain, but at heart he's a good guy, and all he wants to do is do right by his kid.
Don't give
And
mushy on
wants
me,
wants to
Pops.
make sure his kid has a better life than he's had. And the feels, man.
Oh, he's getting
Like, I know
mushed on.
Dogman's the
Like
hero, but
fact.
Dogman didn't have to do what Petey had to do. Good job, Petey. You're a real cat.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, no, I actually see where you're coming from. Because Dogman wouldn't exist without Petey. Because Petey blew up the officer
He blew up the cop and the dog.
and the dog.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so then that's what gave the nurse the idea.
I
to
didn't know.
throw
He
the
has
head
committed war
onto
crimes.
the cop's body.
That just adds to his flavor. I like him more now.
Oh my
I'm here for
god.
blowing people up. Good job,
Yeah.
Petey.
Yeah, terrorist attack.
Can I say, as a person who read book 5 and has read book 7, Petey has shown real growth between books, which again, for this kid's comic, really cool. Like, really cool. Like, the moment where Petey comes to the decision that he's going to let little Petey stay with Dogman and ADHD
Yeah.
on the weekends.
Mhm.
Really awesome. Good on you, Petey. You're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, what I really like is that they show that Petey deserves forgiveness because little Petey's like even dresses like you abandoned me, but I forgive you. But then we get to see little Petey's grandpa be a complete piece of work and not deserve forgiveness. I liked that. I liked
Yeah.
that there were some things that you don't need to forgive that are still the wrong things to do.
It's not like an absolute moral, whatever, hey, in all cases, this is true book. It's a
Not
complex,
everyone
weird,
deserves your
shaped gray book.
forgiveness. Yeah,
Not all Cylons are bad.
that's right.
True.
Shoot,
This
wrong
isn't
guy.
Battlestar Bros, Mike.
Sorry.
That
All
podcast.
this has happened before.
You guys were recording that podcast, what, 4 years ago?
Don't say things you can't take back.
In
I'm not calling you guys old.
in the before times.
I'll have you know it's been 6 years.
Good more than that, right? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Back in the
Pat-
good days of 7th grade.
You were 6, Ryan.
Hey, 6 years. Oh yeah.
That's how that math works.
See,
What
it
are
even
they-
hits you. It hit
what-
you just as hard as us. Oh
What
my
are
God.
they teaching in Sun Prairie schools though that he can't do that math?
I think he can. I just was shocked by it, which I understand.
That's
I
fair.
understand.
Pat, who's your favorite character in the book?
I'm with Mike. It's got to be Petey.
All right. Any different reasons or roughly the same?
I mean, it's roughly the same. I really liked those last few pages where there aren't any dialogue. It's just him walking back and reconsidering the things that his son told him.
You
in
feel
new
those
context.
feelings.
It's good. Those are emotional panels when he looks
Especially
up the
for, like,
sky.
Crude
With the
drawings.
weeds.
And you're like, dang.
Yeah.
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 It's not that crude. We should actually talk about that maybe. Like, it looks simple, but like, drawing that simplistically is actually really hard because every single line has to be pretty much exactly correct. And B, it does a really good job of like evoking the feel of being made by the two school children who supposedly made it, maturity award winners,
Yeah.
Harold and
James, because they're also
Gerald. No, Harold and Gerald.
Is it no?
No, it's Gerald. No,
His
one of
name
them is
is
Gerald.
not Gerald, is it?
What? Wait, hold on.
No, you
It's
could be right.
George. George
George.
and
Harold.
Harold.
Yeah, because Ryan, you won't understand this, but they were in the Captain Underpants books. that
Yes, they
Pat
were.
and I
I
had
read
when we
the
were
Captain
kids.
Underpants books.
Oh, okay. Well, then he understands.
In fact, that principal or teacher is.
I also watched the
indeed.
movie.
Secretly, Captain Underpants. I haven't seen the movie.
Movie is pretty cringy.
All right. I mean, the
happens.
books were kind of weird, honestly.
Yep.
I think these books are better than those books, but it's been a while, so I'm not sure I can completely assert that as being true. But
There's
Oh.
more heart in this than there was in what I can remember of Captain Underpants.
yeah, this made me feel feelings, and I don't really remember Captain Underpants making me feel feelings, but I was just a youth then, so who knows?
You guys know the while still on the topic of the drawing and art style.
Yeah.
Did you guys actually like do the fliporama stuff?
I tried to.
I tried.
Wait. When you say you tried, do you mean you failed?
There was only 2 pages, so I mean, that was fine.
Did you
Nice.
rip my book?
It works better on the computer where I can use the mouse wheel to go back and forth.
Oh, that would be fun, actually. That'd be
But
cool.
I didn't work as
Mike's
well
not
when I did
answering
it
my
on a.
question. Did you rip my book?
Did you rip the book, Mike?
Mike, did you rip the book?
I invoked the Fifth Amendment.
Okay,
Wow.
okay. This turned from a lighthearted podcast. Oh, sunshine and rainbows to a dark interrogation.
Be careful, Ryan. Sometimes he takes your comics and he doesn't give them back. So
Tell me.
watch out.
He is a known comic book taker.
Did
They're all mine.
rip my book?
All this has happened before.
Okay, we're never gonna get an answer out of him. It's too good.
Yeah, when on touchscreen it was a little more cumbersome, but it works with the mouse wheel really good.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that you were probably reading it digitally, so that would hinder you on flipping around. But yeah, I always do them the first read through. I usually don't do them the second read through, but I at least do it once to see what the effect is. I don't love them, honestly. Like, I've never, even as a kid, I wasn't a huge Flipperama person.
I think they're decent, but it's just the same picture, and some of them don't even make sense. Like on one picture, it's one picture like of villains getting knocked into a wall, and then he's getting pulled back, pushed back, pulled back, pushed back.
Yeah, I mean they're just 2 frames, so it'd just
Yeah.
be one action. Matt,
That'd be so fun.
who are you gonna pick?
I think I'm gonna pick Dogman. I'm a dog person now. I like dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Dogman. What did
I like
Dogman do
Dogman.
that got your vote?
So this is actually, we haven't talked about Dogman himself much, so we should talk about that. Dogman's relatable in this book, man. He's just trying to focus up, trying to ignore distraction in his life and better himself. And then also, like, he took it too far. Like, he took it too far. He had rules that he had, like, made for himself. Those rules became fears. They dominated his life. I've had that happen to me. I don't
yeah.
like going to the grocery store.
God, yeah.
Oh, yeah, those lessons really didn't do a whole lot, because then once like the moments with the ball flashcard, and then he had to like get dunked, and he doesn't like getting wet, and then when the book literally talks about killer robot balls, he thinks about getting dunked again, and then he just hides, and then little Petey gives a moral talk speech, I guess.
Yeah, an encouraging speech.
Dogman, you can do it.
And how did we feel about that?
I thought it was pretty silly.
I mean, sometimes you just need some encouragement.
I mean, Ryan, it's a comic book for children.
Using my own words against me.
I don't know. Inspiring speech is fine to me. But, like, I like Dogman in this. Dogman doesn't talk. He's the only character that's... Oh, no. ADHD, which, having said his name out loud 3 times now, I'm only now getting that, by the way.
What?
Does ADHD have ADHD?
Oh, you didn't get ADHD when nice.
I haven't said it out loud till this very moment, and now I can't. Yeah, I know, right?
Does he have the actual mental illness ADHD?
I don't know.
Potentially.
I don't know enough about this robot.
No, he's a robot. He doesn't have a mind.
I mean,
He
that
seems
depends on
pretty
how
there.
far we're going into that.
Lord.
He likes flip-flops, I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
he wears flip-flops a ton.
Yeah.
Mike, so you and Ryan are going to watch the Star Trek episode Measure of a Man right after this, right?
You know,
Mike,
I
I'll
don't
be
think
in my
he's
room
ever
playing
seen it.
Republic Commando.
Wow.
I tried
But
to get
no.
him to watch Next Gen, but he's like, no, I only watch Lower Decks, because Lower Decks is...
That's not true. I've seen The Wrath of Khan.
You have seen The Wrath of Khan.
What a wild like mess of Star Trek stuff to have seen. Anyway, now I'm going off topic.
But no, I agree, Matt, that the scene with little Petey giving the inspiring speech gives like one of the more powerful messages of the book. The whole, it's not good enough just to be good. You got to do good.
Yeah, intentions are nothing, actions are everything. Again, a very complex psychological topic to get into. All right, so Ryan, at this point, we're moving into the section of the podcast where we recommend things to our readers so that if they liked this book and they want to read something else that they might like that's similar to this, what would you recommend? Typically, we don't recommend, hey, just read more in the series, because like that's pretty obvious. But if that's what you got, if there's your second favorite Dogman book to recommend, also valid.
I think I'd recommend Last Kids on Earth series.
Ooh, that
It
one
is
is good.
technically a graphic novel.
There you go.
Yeah, I bought the first one of those for one of my nephews that lives in Las Vegas, and I read a little bit of it before we sent it because I always read a little bit of it before I send it to make sure it's okay to send. But I liked that. That one was cool.
What's it about? What is it?
It's about the kid. It's about last kid. It's about 4 kids making their way through Earth, which is a dystopian apocalypse.
Sure, yeah.
Full of zombies and monsters, with giant creatures known as dozers, and there's also one called Blarg, which is a really big one.
How many books are there of those? Do you know?
Let me look at my comic shelf right next to me.
Noise.
10.
Dang. These children's authors, man, they go hard.
They know.
It's so like there's literally. I don't think Harry Potter had this regularity. It reminds me of like when Harry Potter used to be coming out. There'd be like you knew the day that Harry Potter was coming out, and you'd go to the bookstore that morning.
Sure.
Like I think every September, a Dogman hits shelves with like clockwork regularity. It's like the same week, I think, in September every year. They know how to keep an audience. These children's
R.L.
graphic novel
Stein.
authors.
Swear to God,
Yeah.
like it's got to be like 5 or 6 Goosebumps books a year for several
Oh my
years there in the
God.
90s.
Yeah.
And Animorphs to some lesser extent. There was like 3 or 4 a year.
Sure.
Have you guys seen these videos where like people line up in like the frigid cold for like the stupidest stuff, like a pair of shoes that are like limited? I feel like that's what it would be for like Dogman if like a new Dogman just came up to like Barnes and Noble or Half Price Books or something.
Yeah, I would imagine there are
Sure.
places that have like book parties and stuff in the same way that bookstores used to do like Harry Potter ones back in the day. Haven't seen one. Probably be fun to go to one. Maybe that'll be a blog post someday. I'll go for a Dogman book party if I can find one.
It's you and a bunch of kids waiting in lines for the new Dogman.
I like these books, man. I always like have such a good time reading them.
Yeah, I can mail
Nothing
you the whole
against it.
series.
Well,
I
one
mean-
of them's ripped. I don't want that one. You gotta get that
Yeah,
one.
not
first.
that one. The
Yeah.
nice thing is they're all available at the library because turns out the library needs to have like 50 copies of these to satisfy the Madison area children's
demand.
desire for Dogman. Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
Well, cool. Last Kids on Earth, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yes.
Nice. I did think of a suggestion.
Sure.
all right, Pat. Lay it on me, Pat.
I think we've already mentioned it before, but this had strong Calvin and Hobbes vibes. I think it's probably because Petey is drawn similarly to Hobbes.
It has the words, it has the word transmogrification in it. Also, it's
Oh,
in the
there you go.
panel-
That's
it's in
true.
the panel after your
Yeah.
sepulcher panel.
Sepulcher.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, I mean, if you like it's got similar humor at times, but beautifully drawn and has emotional moments that come out of nowhere and really strike a chord. So if you like this, pick up a Calvin and Hobbes collection. Give it a go.
That was literally what I was going to say.
that's fine. We have the same
Ah.
recommendation.
But since you said it, I'm going to go pick up a Garfield collection. Garfield.
No, no,
no.
no.
Garfield
Trash. Get off my
Garfield
podcast. Boo.
Garfield Cat
Boo.
3-pack. All of them I read growing up. I think
I have to live with
not
this
at all
dude.
related at all. So it seems like it'd be hilarious to make that. I would second Patrick. Like Calvin and Hobbes vibes from this are strong, and it cuts in the same way. So that's where my mind went.
And
Good
Mike, you know
choice.
where there are no emotional moments?
Hmm.
Garfield.
Garfield.
That's not true. He gets sad when his lasagna's gone.
I feel sorry for John all the time. Garfield, but
John
not,
is
in,
the
not in the same way.
Or not sympathetic.
Or the dog. He
pathetic.
just gets bullied by Garfield all the time.
Yeah.
That's
Odie?
true, yeah.
Oh, poor
Yeah.
Odie.
Odie, yeah.
See, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's art.
Okay, buddy.
It doesn't. Not all art is good, Mike. Anyways, we'll move on.
Now we're
Subjective.
being snobby over here.
Just a
Didn't know we were
little.
coming to an art critic podcast here. I'm hoping Jim Davis isn't listening to this. He'll get really offended by us talking about Garfield the way we are.
I think Jim Davis knows that people have feelings about Garfield one way or the other. There's a Garfield convention every year, man. Like that dude's making enough money that
Where?
he doesn't have to care about our
Mike
opinions.
wants to know where the convention is.
You better put that in the show notes.
Oh my god, I'll have to find it. I don't know if it moves or not. Yeah, Jim Davis does not care about us, which is the correct.
Is that the writer for Garfield or is that the illustrator?
It's both.
Yeah.
Both previously.
Oh,
Neither probably now, honestly.
All right, Matt. Close us out. What's your recommendation?
So like I said, I've had to buy like a good number of these sorts of series for my nephew, well, Kat's nephews, my nephews by proxy, by law, because they really enjoy like children's and young adult graphic novels also. So it's a nice excuse for me to get to go look at that section of the bookstore every year or two. And my favorite one that I've sent them is a series called Investigators. It's alligators that investigate things.
That did come up numerous times when I googled similar books to Dogman.
The whole series, the pun writing is on par with the title. Like it's so full of great puns. It's like honestly of the series that I've sent to them, it's the one that I've considered buying for myself the most because I read it front to back and chuckled the whole way through the same way I chuckled the whole way through this. So for children, Investigators is the one I would recommend for sure. For adults, maybe yes also. I also have weirdly been like waiting to write a blog post for a while, and I don't know if I'll get to it, where like I want to compare Dogman to Hellboy, because I feel like they live in the same fantasy dream logic world. Where like
Hellboy DC?
Hellboy is independent actually. It's Dark Horse Comics.
Oh, well, I thought he was in DC because he's in Injustice too.
That's probably a licensing thing, because the Ninja Turtles show up in that too, right?
Oh yeah, and Sub-Zero. So
Sub-Zero, yeah. Yeah, everyone's going full Fortnite these days. but like there's like the thing that I think would maybe sum up how Hellboy is similar to this. There's a lot of literary references, and like there's a lot of really complex like moral stuff going on in Hellboy in the same way that a lot of that stuff's packed in here. But there's a 4-panel sequence in one of the Hellboy stories where I think it's Hellboy and Abe Sapien walk into a room. Abe Sapien is like, it's a monkey. The next panel is the monkey. The third panel is Hellboy saying he's got a gun. The fourth panel is the monkey with a gun, and the fifth panel is the monkey firing the gun. So it's wild in the same way that these books are wild. Like, the title of the blog post in my head is Dogman is Hellboy for kids. So, Ryan, when you're older, you might want to jump off to Hellboy because it's got similar vibes at times. All right, boys. I think that is going to do it for this month's discussion of Dogman, For Whom the Ball Rolls. As always, if you want to get in touch with Pat or myself, you can email us at waitingonthetrade@gmail.com. You can also find more comics-related goodness at mattreadscomics.com. Ryan, this was a treat. I had a lot of fun reading the book, and I had a lot of fun talking with you about it. I'm really glad that we finally managed to get this scheduled, and you finally came on to talk comics with us.
Part 2? Question mark?
Part 2? Question mark.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd be down. If you want to come back, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, I'd be down to do it.
Oh, look, I used the youth slang.
Down. Wow, man.
Cool, Daddy-o.
It's so fetch.